Without getting into proprietary numbers, how did you and your customers go about kind of measuring whether Opal was actually working?
Yeah, so we were measuring things like t time to market, so the turnaround time that you're able to be able to handle a piece of content. And of course, I mentioned earlier on that that we've done a lot of work to speed up that process anyway prior to any of this technology getting implemented. But we're finding it's 50% faster to be able to take content and have something that's validated and ready to go out the door, which is massive. And we're also seeing up to 26% reduction in time for human beings doing any of that human in the loop editing as well. So the system definitely gets better over time. The more it's able to be trained on content, the more reinforcement learning that goes into it, the bigger impact that that's having right now as well. And currently we're supporting over 35 languages in terms of the languages that are we're able to train, and we feel comfortable with the quality of the output that they're able to produce. But at the same time, we're looking at the next 200 languages, and we have a certification process by which we're working to make sure that the models that are trained in some of the more long tail languages are ready and are capable of being able to do this work in the future.
So, when you kind of launched Opal, I imagine you had a couple of beta customers that were, early deployments. What did you kind of didn't expect that you saw out of those early ones, or what friction did you hit that you didn't expect?
A lot of the friction is actually just in terms of getting a lot of the things together that you need in order to be able to do the initial training. So that data can often exist in different places. There are some standards that exist in the language industry around some of the training data that's used for MT, some of the terminology, for example, that has standards around it that you can use to train. But it's really kind of getting all that together and then getting the initial rollout done, where you're really re-engineering some of the workflows that need to exist. Once you've done all that work, and once we did that work with our initial clients, it was pretty interesting to sort of be able to sit back and then watch actually the magic happen, right? So you're able to then start to assess the output. We have a team of data scientists that then worked to understand and compare the output that was coming from our post-edited AI content versus what would have been done by a human translator, and that's how we were able to come up with some of those statistics. And it's a really compelling story that this technology is capable of being able to do this work in a really high quality way, and I think that really bears some interesting thoughts around where this is going to be in the next 2 to 3 years. I think we're going to see continuous reductions of effort, maybe 35 to 40% in terms of the human intervention that's required, and it's going to mean a much more automated system. And what does that mean for businesses? Ultimately, it means that they can experiment more, right? They can experiment in different markets. They can try things with content with less of the what you described earlier on as kind of a painful process of getting translation done and internationalization done for content. You can do it quicker, faster, and then really find what works for your product, your service in any given market, and be able to respond and react to that.